Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now guys, you can see here a whole plethora of computer parts which I have taken the risk and bought from eBay in the attempt to build possibly one or two more budget build PCs. Now, what we're going to do in this video today is we're going to have a look at, can you actually trust eBay? And I did my research on a lot of the sellers of these, so fingers crossed, everything here will work as it should. Everything here is second-hand. The only one which could be more of a worry is this ASRock B450M Pro 4, as it was sold from a charity eBay seller which said untested. The reason I went with it though is because with the pictures it was completely unopened, the IO shield was completely unopened, the actual SATA cables were unopened. So my thinking is that this is some kind of old stock warehouse that was given to the charity or sold to the charity for extremely cheap from stock they were unable to sell. The other one I'm a little bit concerned about is this power supply has been sold to me as working absolutely perfectly. But you can see here, there's a screw under there, and one of the stickers here on this edge has also been torn, like someone has tried to take it apart. So I've always said you've got to be careful with secondhand power supplies. I wanted to do it for this video though, just to see, can you trust eBay in general, and can you trust second-hand power supplies? The first thing I would always recommend doing when you have a power supply is getting yourself a power supply tester, if you can, and plug it into this first, just to make sure you're not going to blow up the rest of your components if they were working in the first place. So that's what we are going to do first. Okay guys, you can see that I have it all plugged into the power supply tester. The 24-pin main ATX connector plugs in this side. That's what gives it its power. And then you start plugging in the other ones in either side. So I've got the CPU one plugged in here firstly. So moment of truth. If it has any readings which it doesn't like the look of, then it will beep. But you can also read the readings. So let's turn it on. It's good that it's powering up. There's no scary beeps or anything like that. And when I say scary beeps, I'll show you. So if I unplug the CPU connector now, it warns you. And then it's fine. So you can see the readings on here on the front. I'm not going to go into it too much detail, but they all look good to me on the main lines. These lights won't actually show up properly with the plus 12, plus 3 until you have like a SATA cable plugged in here. So that looks all fine. It sounds quite quiet as well. The fan isn't roaring away, which is good. So I'll move on to the next, probably the PCIe, so the graphics card connector in the next one. And then we'll give it another go. Okay, PCIe is in there now. It just uses the smaller connector, not the main 6-pin. So as it when it don't be alarmed, when it first turns on, it will beep, just showing it has power. But that all looks good as well. Those readings all look good. So let's try plugging in the SATA cable next. I will turn it off in between. I do advise turning it off in between each one. You can see it down there. Not much taut on the line here. There you go. All three are lit up. So that SATA, you can see the three lights down here. I know it's a little bit more difficult to see, but you can see the three lights down here, which means that connector is also all good. So I think we are all good to go with this power supply, which is good, especially with the looked like they were trying to gain access to screws or something. I don't really know, but we're all good. It's working. Now we know that the power supply is working. We will then set up a little test bench here. I'm going to go with the worried about motherboard first, because if we can change out the individual RAM and the CPU and bits and pieces, and we still can't get it to work, and then we change those to the other one, and we know that those bits will then work on that particular one, then we will be all, well, we know that then that is the issue. So let's hope that both work. Let's fingers crossed. Let's hope that they both work. But I'll set up that test bench now and we will get to testing. Okay, so I'm just setting up this test bench now. So I've got the ASRock B450 Pro 4 motherboard. I fitted the SSD, which I got for £45 off an eBay seller. I've got the HyperX Fury DDR4 RAM here, which is 16GB in total. So we'll put both in for now, and if there is a problem, we'll pull one out, etc. And I've got a Ryzen 5 3600X CPU in there. I'm going to fit the cooler on it just because if we can get it into boot, then at some point I would also like to put Windows 11 onto this drive as well. If we can get it to recognise it, hopefully, because I just want to go through the BIOS and stuff, just make sure everything is recognised. So I don't want the CPU to get too hot. It is only a 3600X, so it shouldn't really, but I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to fit it all with thermal paste properly. If that then works, obviously I'm going to use one of the first GPUs as well. This 3600X is not a G or anything like that, so it has no integrated graphics, so I will have to use one of these to test it. So if all of that works when it's all plugged in, I will then swap out this RAM. I've just got another one off eBay, which I got for £20, I believe it was. It's just 16GB of DDR4. It is Corsair Vengeance, which is fairly decent. That is also a 3600 megahertz piece of stick of RAM as well. So yes, let's get all this sorted. I'll come back to you as well once everything is on. Okay, guys, this is the moment of truth. CPU cooler is fitted, RAM's fitted, all the cables are fitted, GPU fitted. One thing I have noticed, I haven't plugged in the PCU, so that wouldn't have gone well. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, we've rectified it. It's on. So, first things first. PSU, we've got power to the motherboard because this is a USB cable that plugs into the back, and that just turned on. So that is a good sign. So we just now need to jump it. Okay, we have spinning. The GPU fan is also spinning, I can confirm that. Is it on auto or is it on? Come on. Just need to wait for it to calm down. Not a good sign when it's ramped up. Hopefully it will settle itself out. I'm going to give it a minute. Oh! It's settled. This screen's just turned itself off, I think. Oh, no, we're on. We're booting. We're booting. Good. Oh, it just boot looped. Something just crashed it out. It's back on. It's back on. Ah, I tell you why. Memory training error. It's going into a Windows, which means that's strange. So that already has Windows 11 on it, which I wasn't told that had Windows 11 on it, but it does, which is good because it's there. So we know that these components work. It did say something about a memory training error. Now, I don't quite know what that means. However, it is booted and it is in. So maybe I'm going to reset this and hit the F12 to get into the BIOS. Just make sure it's recognizing everything. 1 second. Okay, guys. So when I first went back, the reason it was saying memory training error, I mustn't have seated the second stick of RAM properly, because when I went back in and reseated it into the BIOS, one was missing. It is now, I reseated it, is now showing. So we have everything here working. So let's swap out, let's test it all this. We know the motherboard works. So what we need to do now is we just need to swap out the RAM for the Vengeance RAM, that's just over there. And we also want to put the second GPU in. Both of these are GTX 1070s. They're just two different styles. This is a blower version, and that is the 2-fan PNI, that's a PNI, this is MSI one. Once we know that all of this is working, and which is great, because this was the motherboard I was most worried about, and it's working, what a bargain this was. I picked this up for £20, it was just under £20 because of the risk. And I looked at the pictures and I thought, that looks like it's never been opened or used. And the risk was well worth it. So what I'll do is I'll swap out the GPU and the stick of RAM, and we'll just make sure that those work. And then we can get on to the next motherboard and just make sure, can we get 100% of everything working? That would be a dream as well if we could do that. It means we wouldn't have been scammed on eBay, which is fantastic. My most worry was, well, that PSU was a little bit worrying when I got it. It said it worked. I only bought that for like £16. So it's under $20. It was great. So, right, okay, let me swap out these and we'll come back in. Okay, guys, so I've changed the RAM stick over. It's now got the Corsair Vengeance in there, 3600 megahertz. And I've also now got the PNY GTX 1070 in there. So it's now going to be the moment of truth for this one. Will these two bits work? If we can get 100%, we know the motherboard works, we know the CPU works. It is now just these two elements here. Gonna jump. There you go. We're all plugged in, we're all good to go. Because what I want to do is make sure that I can boost in. If it, obviously a little down the line, before when I put these in a PC or before I put them in a PC, I will stress test each of these at the same time. Come on. But it seems to do this weird. Let me know in the comments below, is this normal? It does like a, it's posting, I think. It's recognised something. Does it do, is it meant, it's can't, the fans have come down, but does it do these like, it revs? So yeah, PNY GeForce Corp, it's just recognised the GPU. It's going to boot into Windows, I don't think it let me. For some reason the keyboard didn't light up in time. Okay, yes, so it means we've got our Corsair. It is there. It's saying it, and it's 16, it's definitely 16 gigabyte. It is, however, set to DDR4, and it says 2666 megahertz, but we can basically boost it up. We can, especially with this RAM as well, we can enable it to boost up to the main 3200. So that's not a worry. It always shows it lower than it actually is. So we know we have two working GPUs. All of our RAM sticks work. The CPU works. The cooler works. The motherboard works, is the most important thing. And we know that the SSD works because it booted into Windows initially in the first place. So we know that we are all good. One thing I do want to do before we do it, if we just exit and boot, if we just do this for the time being, I'm hoping that when it boots into Windows, I'm going to need to plug a mouse in, aren't I? Let's be honest. Is it just... Okay, it's restarting itself, so it's going to boot into Windows. While it restarts, I'm going to get a mouse and we're going to see if we can have a look at this M.2 drive as well. Okay, got the mouse. Ignore the rubbish mouse. I purposely have kept this Goodman's keyboard and mouse kit, just purposely to do stuff like this. So first things first, if we go into Task Manager and we can just open it up, let's have a look at, it does say Samsung SSD 960 EVO 1 terabyte. At some point we're going to have to stick this through utensils that we can to stress test it and read and write speeds and make sure that it is officially a Samsung SSD. We know what sometimes these are like on Amazon. However, I have a 990 Pro, which cost me a lot of money in my actual PC, and I was looking at it side by side, and normally you could tell when they're fake with the printing that the writing doesn't look quite right. It's a little bit more faded. However, it looked legit. So I think we're okay. I think we're going to be okay, especially with here. So memory, we've got our 16 gigabyte of RAM. Yeah, CPU, AMD Ryzen 5 3600X. That's all working good as well. So I think first things first. I think I think I've struck gold as well with this being Windows 11. Just want to see this actually. Just want to see, is this obviously okay? So and we'll automatically try to activate Windows late. Okay, so yeah, we need to connect to the internet basically to be able to make sure that if it's an activated version, because if it is an activated version, we've changed probably too many components, so it's probably going to ask us to activate it again. But we can always keep our fingers crossed, etc. That's not going to get hot anyway, especially with just idling like this. It's got the cooler on it. But let's swap over to the next motherboard. Just so you know, I wish it was a Asus TUF gaming motherboard. However, it is not. It is a B550, but it does not have the Wi-Fi. It is not a TUF gaming one. So it is a step up from this B450. It is a newer version. So let's see if this works, because this is... Motherboards can be... This is my worry. He's bought... Obviously, this is a box of probably one that he's bought, and he's bought another B550 plus Wi-Fi. Why would you replace your B550 motherboard with another B550 motherboard just with Wi-Fi? You'd upgrade it, right? To something maybe even better. I know it's a gaming one. It probably has a lot more features and added features and stuff with it, but it's just a little bit worrying. That's my concern. So I'll swap it all over and we will get going. Obviously, I'm not going to start swapping all over the GPUs and stuff like that. We'll just use the one GPU, the one stick of RAM, because we know that all works. It's just now into the final part of, does the last motherboard work? Let's get into it. Okay, here we go, guys. This is a Gigabyte ultra durable B550 motherboard. Will it work? That is the question. So, moment of truth. Turn this on. We have power to the motherboard, which is good because we have that. So, there it is. Okay. I have put the M.2 back in there. Obviously, that has Windows 11 on it. Oh, it's ramping. Calm down. It did this a couple of times last time. Potentially with it first starting up. Oh, we have something. Press enter key, previous. So yes to reset. Yeah, new CPU installed. So we'll just... see what it does. It is ramping it up. I don't know what it's doing. For some reason, let's go into the boot menu. Hopefully that just worked. But we have display. We've lost display. Is it going into a boot cycle? Oh, we're stuck in a boot cycle. BIOS has been reset. Okay. Maybe it was just resetting itself. Okay, please select the boot drive. I want to enter setup. Okay. It's on. The fan is really ramping. CPU temp is 36 degrees. If I'm honest with you, I did just take the CPU out, put it in there without wiping the thermal paste off. It was enough for what we were doing. system temp 23, but we are loaded, we are in. So I'm thinking while it was just resetting itself, it was just getting into it. We're recognizing the RAM. Obviously, we've got our processor being recognized. It recognized the boot drive. It did recognize. Let's go to PCIe. Okay. I want to go, because this is the setup mode, I want to go into the boot menu. Obviously, we don't want a Q flash. Smart file, okay. Oh, it's here. It's recognizing 1 terabyte boot drive. So what we want to try and do, XFPM is disabled. Want to XMP profile 1. There you go. Cool. So do you know what? Let's just go and save, exit, and hopefully boot. So it will reset itself now. I actually think part of this is why it's ramping up and it sounds a lot more vibraty than the last one, is because I still had the last one on the foam mat that it comes in. Okay, let's see if this boots. See what I mean? Proper ramps up. But I don't know if some of the noise of that is to do. Look at that. We'll have to. I haven't plugged the mouse in. I have no idea how I even managed to do that. Let's plug that in. Okay, mouse is in. So, of course, it's going to try and get us to do all sorts with downloading drivers and stuff like that. I'm not going to, because I'm not fully. I don't know if I will be using this M.2 with this motherboard yet. I don't know. So I'm going to stay away from that for the time being. Let's go to Task Manager. Just make sure it's recognizing everything once again, without having to download loads of software and bits and pieces. In the meantime, so CPU, it's recognizing obviously our CPU. Perfect. Memory, we've got a 16 gigabyte. Of course, there we go. We've got our disk memory there as well. For some reason, this fan is a lot louder in this one. Could be the thermal paste in there because, yes, okay, I just swapped it over. But there was no point me cleaning it off and doing it just to do this. But guys, in the short of it, we have 100% working components. So 2 graphics cards, 2 GTX 1070s, the M.2 960 Evo from Samsung. We have the Ryzen 5 3600X. We have a Corsair Vengeance 16 gigabyte of 3600 megahertz RAM. We then have the HyperX Fury 16 gigabyte of RAM as well. Both of those sticks work. We have the PSU. What else did we have? I think that's everything, isn't it? We've gone through absolutely everything. I'm happy with that. So potentially from this, if I can get myself another CPU for a decent price, maybe another stick, maybe I'll make a kind of a mid-range gaming PC, maybe pick up a better GPU, maybe a better CPU, and I'll team up that 1 terabyte SSD, because it is a decent SSD, and we'll make like a mid-range gaming PC, put it in a nice case, and away we go. And obviously, if you like stuff like this and you're interested in watching those builds down the line, I will be putting all of this together and we will be filming it all here. So if you like that, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and thank you so much for watching, guys. Leave some comments down below as well. What do you think? Did we get lucky? Did we do well? I think as long as you are reading the reputation from the actual sellers themselves on eBay, I think sometimes zero feedback people starting new accounts for a reason, but obviously everyone starts somewhere, so that's not always a rule of thumb. But just be careful on eBay. We got very lucky here, and even with that untested motherboard, we got very lucky there, and we got it for a great price as well, as I said. So I'm very, very happy with that. I'm very, very happy with that worked. But stuff like that, you can pick yourself up a bargain with stuff like that, like the charity shop sellers that go on eBay, and just look at the pictures. It hadn't, the I/O shield hadn't been opened, the SATA cables hadn't been opened. It looked like a very, very clean board. When you look at the photos of this one, you can see this has dust on it. This has definitely been used, but he's obviously upgraded it for whatever reason to maybe just a motherboard with some more, I guess, gaming capabilities for overclocking and stuff like that. But there you go. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one.